Hello, how are you doing? My name is Otto and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to compare two of the best smartphone gimbals. This is the DJI OM5 and this one here is the new Zhiyun Smooth Q4, and the two of them are very similar gimbals in many ways. If you are trying to make a decision to get one or the other, hopefully with this video you will be able to understand what's different from one and the other. The regular price for the DJI OM5 is $159 and the Smooth Q4 has a lower price at $119. If you buy the OM5, it will come with a tripod, a pouch, a wrist strap, and a USB-C charging cable. The basic version of the Smooth Q4, which is the $119 one, comes with a tripod and a USB-C charging cable. But the Smooth Q4 is also available as a combo package for $149. It also has the tripod and a charging cable, but you also get a carrying case, a wrist strap, a fill light, 4 magnetic color filters, and a VIP member card for 1 year, which is going to give you access to special features on the app. You can buy a fill light for the OM5 as well, but the price is around $60, so you would have to spend around $220 between the gimbal and the fill light. And comparing that to the $149 for the Smooth Q4 combo that has a fill light, the Q4 seems to be a better deal. The fill light of the Smooth Q4 has a magnetic design and you can turn it around, and it works on landscape and portrait mode. The light is dimmable, it has a temperature of 5500 Kelvin and it is very bright, and the magnetic color filters can be placed on the fill light just like this. Both of these gimbals are quite compact and lightweight. The OM5 has a weight of 390 grams and this weight includes the clamp and the tripod. The Smooth Q4 has a weight of 420 grams and this also includes the weight of the tripod. Side by side, the OM5 has a more compact design. Not sure if you can tell from the video, maybe not a big difference, but when you fold these gimbals, the OM5 has the advantage. It makes this gimbal very easy to carry around and it's not going to take a lot of space in your backpack, and you can even slip this inside your pockets. Both gimbals can support pretty heavy phones, the OM5 up to 290 grams and the Smooth Q4 up to 280 grams. I did test my iPhone 13 and the Samsung S21 Plus with an external wide-angle lens which has a weight of around 85 grams, and I did notice that the OM5 wobbles a bit when panning left or right, so this is not something that I would recommend using. The Smooth Q4, on the other hand, did a better job than the OM5. Build quality of these two gimbals is quite good, but the design of the OM5 is more attractive. It has slimmer arms and some silver details that I really like. On the handle of both gimbals, we have some rubber material and this makes them feel good when you're holding them. We do have a trigger on both gimbals that will perform different actions, and these two gimbals have a joystick to move the camera around. On the Smooth Q4, it will move faster or slower depending on how much force you apply to the joystick. The OM5 will not care about how hard you push the joystick, so it's either going to move or it's not, but on both gimbals, you can change the joystick speed on the menus. Perhaps the biggest difference here is that the OM5 has a dedicated button to flip the camera around and to change the phone orientation. If you press it once, the camera will go into selfie mode, and if you press it twice, it will go to horizontal or vertical mode. This is easier to access and remember, in my opinion. With the Smooth Q4, you need to triple tap the trigger or triple tap the record button to access those functions. But the great thing about the Smooth Q4 is that it does have a dedicated button to change the different gimbal modes, and you can't do that with the OM5. You actually need to open the app, go inside the menu, and change the gimbal mode in there. Most of the time, I'm using the gimbal with the native camera app, and going inside the menu to change the gimbal mode is a waste of time. And that's what I actually like about the Smooth Q4. Changing the gimbal mode from one mode to the other is very convenient, and as a bonus, we have these light indicators so it's easy to know which gimbal mode we're using. The OM5 and the Smooth Q4 have a built-in extension rod and they will extend an extra 21.5 centimeters. You can adjust the angle at the top, and let's be honest, this is not something that I would use for regular videos most of the time because the phone will get a bit more unstable, but having an extension rod might be useful for some situations like vlogging, group shots, and it's also great when you're taking low-angle shots. Another big difference is the tilting angle on these gimbals. The OM5 has a limited range of tilt, and I know that this is important for some of you as this will limit some kind of movements. The Smooth Q4, on the other hand, has a very good range when tilting up or down, as you can see on the video. There is a big difference in battery life as well. The OM5 will run for around 7 hours and the Smooth Q4 will run for about 12 hours according to my calculations. I think that 7 hours on the OM5 is more than enough for one day, but having extra battery life is always going to be welcome. I also tested both gimbals using the ultra-wide angle lens on the iPhone 13 and on the Samsung S21 Plus, and neither the arm or the motor of the gimbals would get in the way. Setting up and balancing these gimbals is quite easy. The OM5 has this magnetic clamp that you place on your phone, and hands down, this is one of my favorite features of this gimbal. All you have to do is place the clamp in the middle of the phone, and when you need to use the gimbal, you just place it like this, turn the gimbal on, and you're ready to go. The only drawback of this magnetic clamp is using it with bigger smartphones with a case. It's not so convenient even if you're using thin cases like I do, because it feels like the clamp is not grabbing the case so well. And I always end up using the clamp on the phone without the case, as this actually feels more secure. On the other hand, with the Smooth Q4, I feel like using a case with your phone is not an issue, but bear in mind that my phone cases are quite slim. Also, the new clamp on the Smooth Q4 is now slimmer, and this fixes the issue of the clamp covering the power button. These two gimbals have 3 axes, and I like to recommend 3 axis over 2 axis gimbals. You are going to get better stabilization this way, and the OM5 and the Smooth Q4 do not disappoint when you're moving around trying to capture stable videos. The OM5 and the Smooth Q4 can be used to make low-angle shots by just flipping the gimbal upside down. You can also use sport mode by holding the trigger, and this will make the gimbal react faster to your movements when you need to capture fast-moving subjects. We also have Vortex Mode or spin shots, and this is where the smartphone spins around to make this cool effect. The OM5 will spin around 230 degrees, but at that point, the camera will see the arm of the gimbal. The Smooth Q4 will spin around 180 degrees, but it will stop before the arm gets in the way. You need to consider that these gimbals are not going to spin without limits. And if you're wondering, you need to manually push the joystick to make it spin around. Both the OM5 and the Smooth Q4 have object and face tracking, and they work fine on either iPhones or Android devices. And when it comes to the app, they are both very similar as well. You can select the camera mode that you want to use, like video mode, time lapses, hyperlapses, panorama shots, dolly zoom, and slow motion. On the iPhone, you can record videos at 4K up to 60 frames per second, and you can also select manual mode where you can change the ISO and the shutter speed. With my Samsung S21 Plus running Android, I can record videos at 4K up to 30 frames per second, so it doesn't support 60 frames per second, and there is no manual mode and there is no slow motion. So what I like to do if I need to use 60 frames per second or slow motion on my Samsung is to use the native camera app. So what do you think about these gimbals? Please let me know in the comments down below. Please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, keep having an amazing day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.